because I don't know much. I don't know almost nothing about you, actually.
Yeah.
Just that we're friends on Twitter. And we don't even interact all that much on Twitter, I don't think. But you're interested in interpreting dreams, and so I was kind of curious to know like what your background is on that and why you're interested in it. I'm not sure if you want to record that or just.
Yeah, well, I actually started a little test recording, so maybe this will be a thing that makes it into the. So okay. I'm going to get to that. So explaining what would I use this for if I did share it, and behind the scenes for everybody, literally behind the scenes. So I do 3 kind of separate deals. I do a teaser trailer, which is just the dream, which also serves as a micro playlist for, am I interested in that dream before I watch the episode? That one, 1 to 2 minutes, 3 to 5, however long it takes people to describe it. Then I do the full episode, goes up like Thursdays. And then Friday I drop a 3, 4, 5, 10-minute clip from the show. So this could be the clip. Forgot what I was doing. Oh, the actual question. This is so legit autism, distractible, abstract, brain goes all over the place, which I think is what makes me good at this. Surprisingly, I turn your struggles into benefits. Strength, struggles into strength. Yeah. My fascination with alliteration, I should have gotten that. So yeah, you're not the first person to ask, and I probably should have recorded something like this a long time ago. I digress. Probably about 20 years ago when I was going to college, 25 now, I took a history and systems of psychology class, and we were asked by the teacher to do an assignment before the next class, which was just find a dream, one of your own, friend, family member, anything, and do specifically a Freudian style analysis of it within his framework, and look at Jung and, Carl Jung and his framework, and do an analysis from that perspective to kind of compare and contrast and learn about that period and contribution in that history of psychology. So I did it, and the teacher was like, this is really good. This is fantastic. You nailed their perspective, and really got into a good analysis of the elements from that perspective and drew out a lot of details. And I think, paraphrasing now 20, 25 years later, but he also was kind of complimentary of the idea that I was fearless with getting into the nature of some of the specifics of the dreams and how it may not have reflected well on me. It may have been self-criticism, but I said it because it was there. And so I'm always going to be a little proud of that. You got a pat on the head from the teacher. But I realized, hey, maybe I'm actually kind of good at this. Like, it made sense to me, and I was able to put it all together. And so ever since then, I've been like, well, I've always been kind of fascinated by dreams. I remember probably the first dream, I think it was a dream I ever had, was being young enough to be in the cradle, basically, like in those beds with the rails. God, we don't really call them a cradle, baby bed. But I have this imagery that stuck with me ever since then of my giant stuffed Wile E. Coyote. I had a big one, and it was like the size of my entire body at the time. It got up. I mean, it levitated out of the bed and flew around the room. And then I levitated out of the bed and flew around the room. And the last thing I remember was flying out my bedroom window.
Peter Pan.
And then nothing. Peter Pan style. Yeah. And it may have been affected by watching that as a kid, and this is, I mean, I don't know how young I would have had to have been to still be kind of sleeping in that. It could have been 3 or 4, or I don't know when kids come out of and I don't even know if this is, a fever hallucination the first time I ever had the flu as a young child, or this was an actual dream, or I was abducted by aliens. Hell if I know, but this, well, kind of classic. I was levitated from the bed and out the window and the bright light. And I don't remember a bright light, but okay, that's another digression. But so ever since, lifelong fascination with dreams. But throughout the past 20 years or so, I've randomly talked to people. People have mentioned dreams. I say, I'd like to hear about it. Maybe we can make sense of it together. And I was just kind of had a knack for those connections and relating it to people's personal experience and trying to tease out what specific symbols mean to specific people. So I usually go the opposite direction of the one size fits all dream book interpretation stuff. Not a fan of that. I don't think it's the best way to get good answers. Sometimes the worst way to get the worst possible answers, so to speak. And then about, I don't know, year and a half, 2 years ago, I decided I was going to try and do this as a thing and just talk to people and say, hey, can I make a podcast? And then I said, you know what, I'm going to start doing my own research and really almost like create my own master's degree program for expertise in dreams. So I'm going back and reading all these old books, and I'm like, these don't exist anywhere online in modern publications. And more than that, a lot of the versions that are out there online for free download, you can find I found every single one of my books online. Go read it if you want to. It's not as good as what I do. It's not as formatted and refined. And a lot of them are going to be in very wonky English that's hard to read, like literally Middle English.
So you're saying this old books on dream interpretations?
Yeah. I've currently just published book number 14, which is an analysis. It's dreams in Homer and Greek tragedy. So it's dreams and that's actually that ancient Greek understanding from antiquity and the biblical dreams are what informed dream analysis and dream interpretation up through the 1600s. And then about the rational enlightenment, things started to change, and we started to look for medical and psychological understandings. But until then, it was all God, literally dreams from God or the devil, or dreams from the gods. And that goes back to, so speaking of my books, Homer's Odyssey and Iliad, multiple dreams in there. A dream vision comes to Achilles in one story, and a dream comes to Odysseus's wife Penelope regarding, and actually, while he's undercover being his hidden old man, getting the lay of the land before he goes in to deal with the suitors, she actually tells her own husband in disguise the dream she had about him returning, and he gives her advice based on his plans to take care of the problems she's dealing with. Very fascinating. Anyway, it all blows my mind.
So, did you go to school for psychology? Did you have a degree in psychology then?
Yep, I do have my bachelor's in psych from 25 years ago almost. Never went into private practice. I spent the last 20 years in emergency psychiatric inpatient care, so dealing with the worst, most critical cases.
That's what I did. So I'm a graduate student in psychology right now.
Nice.
But prior to coming here, I worked in a residential home with 8 individuals, and I also did what do they call it? CSU, the Crisis Stabilization Unit, which is like emergency housing. I only picked up a couple of shifts there, but it was like high turnover, people there for just a couple of days. But yeah, similar sorts of things.
Yeah, definitely. We have a very, I remember some of this now that you're saying it, that we had a very similar career track. You're going further in a specific direction. I have a different fascination. So basically autodidactically teaching myself based on the examples of others and I've got 14 books now. I'm working on the next one that should have been book 14, but hopefully it'll be book 15. I'm trying to record an audiobook version of it. That is probably the most famous one. It's Havelock Ellis's World of Dreams, which is referenced by almost every other writer around the late early 1900s. The fascinating part is, people think of Freud and Jung, and they really brought dreams to the public consciousness and medicalized it in a way that people could understand and made it rational. But there were a lot of people writing books about dreams, and all the books that I'm republishing, Freud and Jung would have been aware of. These were traveling in academic circles. This was the literature at the time that allowed them to formulate their theories. So you're kind of getting the historian's history in that way.
Yeah, it's interesting. I've actually learned nothing about. I've never learned anything about dream interpretation. So this will be interesting for me because I don't know. I have like ideas, but I don't know much about it. So it'll be interesting.
Well, it's a wide open field, and there's a lot of ways to look at it. I've developed my own method, and I put that lowercase in quotes because it's just what I do. It's what makes sense to me. I can't say it's the right way or the wrong way. It's probably the only way I can do it. And I'm always trying to get it better. But as soon as I understand it, I'll let you know. It's just kind of what I do.
Sure. That's cool.
But it seems to work. So, hey, if it gets results, good enough. But I'm kind of a constant tweaker in terms of like, maybe I can make it a little better here. Maybe if I did it this way. And it's definitely changed over. This will be episode 87. So
wow. Well, I guess I'm sure that I have some interesting stuff in this dream that you will enjoy and that Freud probably would have enjoyed as well.
Very nice. Yeah. Well, this was all audio test. I'm going to stop this and maybe save it if this is okay to post.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.